Testing one. Here we go. I think. 1, 2, 3. Are we dropping frames? No, we're dropping some frames. Anyway, I'm going to try this. Tom here in Connecticut with MS and a couple issues maybe to talk about. Pushing the bar with Tysabri. Well, the MDs have stopped that. Both of them, my local neurologist and the touch doctor in state in Hartford, with an infusion center. A little bit of MRI activity suggestive of MS, but being on Tysabri and having MRI activity, I guess all the red flags come out, and so asked all sorts of questions like new or worsening symptoms. I don't think so. Maybe some insomnia, maybe a little bit of spasticity in the left foot when I go to bed. Like 3 MRIs in 3 months, which was suggestive of MS, although there are two lesions, I think, that are increasing in prominence, but I've been taken off of all meds, all immunomodulators, and we've come off of one heck of a summer. I look into the camera, I'm not saying I look that good, but I don't feel that bad. So I think it's a question probably of what's next. Back onto Tysabri after one heck of a mess, heck of a lot of anxiety and fear, or is it time to stop? I guess there's another NAB, I forget which one it is, coming out. I am still in far better shape than I was pre-Tysabri. I think I found a Biogen statement that says the risk of PML for someone like me, and I think I did say PML, or I implied it, is still like, had I used a chemotherapy or something like that, they would have stopped me. But being in the risk factor of being JC virus antibody positive, I think I'm probably somewhere in the risk factor of 1 in maybe 200 or 1 in 150. I'm a little tired, 1 in 150 of getting the virus, and that's playing in the numbers a little bit. But anyway, a little bit of optic neuritis, not anything that would blind you, but right eye malfunction, a little bit of haze, a little bit of blue field phenomenon, a little bit of flecking. But anyway, I've had a lumbar puncture, I've had 3 MRIs, I think they want 1 more MRI, and God forbid, I guess every once in a while, one of these things that looks like an MS plaque that is increasing in prominence explodes into a PML lesion, or you could call them lesions, that cloud or aura. Oh, shoot, so that's my moan for the night. It's not a good scene. Tysabri is, I think after the 2-year mark, is not a good scene. You can play the odds and say 1 out of 200, 1 out of 100. Everyone seems to have a different opinion. The MS Society said my risk is, I think, about 1 out of 100 on my profile. And once again, that's a history of Copaxone, some steroids, and Tysabri, JC antibody positive, and but anyway, now for some reason after 3 years, well, not quite 3 years, oh yeah, it's my screensaver, it goes out. But anyway, not after little under 3 years, maybe 2 years, 6 months, MS activity, at least in the opinion of many doctors. And then, being an idiot, I go on to Google and research it, and these PML plaques, they look like MS, and then all of a sudden, so my knuckles are white, and I'm monitoring every little symptom I've got, be it a misfired word to I forgot where I set my car keys, to my right eye is not tracking right. Well, it hasn't tracked right for years. But anyway, anyone out there on Tysabri, I guess we all know that we are pushing the bar, we're pushing it in the sense that after 2 years, if you're JC antibody positive, you are taking a risk. And I think Biogen told me, conveniently, they said my risk was profiled at 4 out of 1,000. I said, you mean 1 out of 250, don't you? And they went, yeah. Okay, so anyway, it's still, you think about it, and the benefits of it, and I don't think I would be sitting here making this video if it wasn't still for Tysabri and what it's done for me. I wouldn't have the concentration. I would probably be slumped in the chair, forward, ready for bed, and stuff like that. Now, Vern Beachy, who I've talked to personally on the telephone, I guess he's had remarkable results from it. Is he pushing the bar? Probably. Are a few of us pushing it? Yeah. Have a few of us paid for it? Probably too many. Then on the other hand, you look at what MS itself can do once you hit that point where the other meds don't help anymore, and you can just feel a slow decline, be it week after week, or maybe over the course of 2 months, I'm not as good as I was 2 months ago, or I can't even stand to take a walk in the woods in the summer, even if I'm in the shade. At least I was able to continue through this summer, push myself to do a couple miles, in the woods, even if it was about 80 degrees. Trying to think what else. I don't know, it's a quagmire, and I think I used that in one of my previous videos. Is it a miracle medication? I think for the time being, yes. Is it a killer? I think the answer to that is also definitely yes. Unless you're one of those strange people that is JC virus antibody negative. And as I talk to you now, I think I've got a head cold, and that is not necessarily one of the most reassuring things, seeing whereas, anyway, I think you get the point about Tysabri. And then when you say, okay, enough's enough, I've pushed it far enough, maybe it's time to stop. What's next? And I think I read it. It's another NAB. I forget what NAB it is, and then that has its own risks. I don't think PML is up on the top of it, and so it's just you start to realize that you are a person with a disease, and you are probably never going to be quite who you were before, and maybe a lot in that is acceptance. Maybe that's half the key. I was watching on YouTube some of Dr. Bernie Siegel's material, and I don't mean to waste your time, but the guy that was on the lecture circuit, he has aged incredibly, but he pointed out with cancer patients, he pointed out a broken radiation machine that was used for radiation oncology. And one of his colleagues said when we had to repair the machine, he said, "What do you mean, it was broken?" And his colleague said, Yeah, it was no radiation. There goes my screen again. Anyway, no radiation for a month. It wasn't working. And Dr. Bernie Siegel said to him, "You mean the patients were getting no radiation?" And the doctor said, "Yeah, that's right." He said, and Dr. Bernie Siegel says, "So they were getting tumor shrinkage?" And the doctor said, "Yep." And they were having redness, suggesting radiation burns. And, yeah, said the doctor. And the other, finally, Dr. Bernie Siegel said, "And you're getting all this?" He said, and finally realized the machine was emitting no radiation whatsoever. And the doctor said, "Yeah." Dr. Bernie Siegel said, "Write it, because none of this should have been." These patients were having all these positive side effects because they believed they were going into a fully functional and active radiation oncology machine that was emitting no radiation, and yet they were getting better. Anyway, that's Dr. Bernie Siegel, Seigel, I think, or YouTube would probably correct the spelling. But he's very popular in oncology. Anyway, that's enough blather about Bernie Siegel. But I was thinking about us and our medications and me and my history. You know, when I was first diagnosed, my placebo was my will. I'm tougher than MS. I can get through this. It ain't that bad. Then I was leveled with a bad attack that was kind of like a brain fog and all sorts of stuff, and it basically kind of shut me down for about 2.5 months. Anyway, it's hard to explain, but it was a hot summer, and I didn't have a thought in my head. Well, after that, I got onto Copaxone, and I started waking up again. Felt better. Let's see, gained proprioception in my legs. I could feel my legs again. I realized I couldn't feel my own weight. That was half of my trouble. How can you walk properly if you can't register your own weight in your legs? You can't, really. Or it takes a heck of a lot of concentration. So the Copaxone eventually seemed to stop working. Then I was prepped up to believe that Tysabri was the next best thing for maybe what was a more secondary progressive stage. And there's a lot of thought behind it, a lot of signing of documents and waivers and stuff like that. And I all of a sudden started to feel better again. Now, although never really like I once was, all of a sudden Tysabri's got this horrible, deadly side effect, which has gotten a couple of us, a few of us. What are the numbers? I bet you they're probably pushing 300 or more now, and it's probably going to get worse. So anyway, now the Tysabri isn't working right, and with me, even if it's allowing MS activity to break through, might be suggested that it's not working as well as it once was. PML, for me, every doctor doubts it. Is it ruled out yet? No. I got to be careful with the placebo effect of this video. But anyway, so I go on to the internet, what's next, what's new, what's out there, and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm trying to make a long story short. If I were all of a sudden be given a clean bill of health by a doctor, no evidence of PML, no, all your active MS lesions have returned to a dormant state. Matter of fact, one lesion disappeared. We're going to put you back on Tysabri because your risk is low, etc. and so forth. And were to give me a bag of saline that looked like Tysabri, I bet I would feel as if I got it. Now I know this is just kind of like a monologue and me thinking, but it really is interesting what even a good phone call from the doctor can do. Hey, that's pretty good news. So, and you feel better. And but then there seems to be also that other side to it, where if you're in a gray area or a questionable area, oh boy, then you can, I think especially with MS, you can feel horrible. Because I think a lot of times with us, I think some of it is mindset. In other words, I've seen people who do fairly well, and maybe not even with MS, but if they've lost the use of their legs, they adapt in the sense of I'm resting my neck does fatigue. They adapt. In other words, there's no more gray area. But I guess that's the problem with every disease. They're all gray areas to one point or another. Now, I was thinking about this video. A lot of it's just my ramble. I was watching some material from God, I wish I could remember his name. That could be a new and worsening symptom. I doubt it. But anyway, you put something on about Acthar gel, which I'm about to try to get the right eye to kick in a little better. It's been the funny eye for a while. But anyway, I am starting to ramble. I am Tom 1972able, and the last thing I could add was something that looked interesting. I was researching for a friend whose daughter has lupus. The practice of destroying the immune system with chemotherapy, and then reintroducing it with the person's own, I believe, bone marrow stem cells. And it may be a fairly older technique, I'm not sure. But what I think they found this applied to in lupus was an immune system regrew without the lupus deficit or defect. And thus, with a few people, I think they had pulled them out of the lupus state. Now, lupus and MS are related, both autoimmune. So, and I was doing more research into this, and they are looking into it, I guess, with MS too. That would be interesting to have your bad immune system killed and then reintroduced through your own stem cells, not fetal stem cells, not anything like that. I think it's called ASCI or something like that, but basically it means adult stem cell something or other. And I'm sure it could be Googled. Maybe I'll look it up and read more on it. But it's interesting, if you're off Tysabri for a little while, your hair does thicken. I wonder how good that can be for you. A medication that makes your hair fall out. What else is it doing? But anyway, it either has given me a few good years, or maybe it still will, or maybe this is my last warning to stop. Anyway, I'm sure I'll get some a little bit of response on this video. I know I tend to ramble on, but I wish everyone well. I challenge anyone out there to give me a phone call sometime. Like I said, sometimes when you get on a pity pot or something like that, it doesn't hurt to say hello to another person with MS. I saw one today at a fair, but thank God we're both still ambulatory, although I am using an ankle-foot orthosis. Mostly, I think it tells me where my foot is. But anyway, that's enough out of me. But anyway, like I said, I challenge anyone out there who watches this video to call me. I'm in Connecticut. It's 860-238-7664. Now, the only person out there I think I've talked to is Vern Beachy. And he's given me some advice and stuff like that. But anyway, best to everyone, and I will be back to torture you, and I'm sure someone will give me a thumbs down for this video. It's probably because I talk too much, but I think that's a feature of MS. Anyway, good night. God bless. And don't vote for Mitt Romney.